The Horizon project is about understanding how new forms of technology might change and influence our behaviours in the future. So it might be like our smartphones, but also how we move around in the world, what data we're generating about ourselves, how that data can be harnessed, some of the ethics about that data, about privacy, who should be able to access that data. My background is as a psychologist and working in the field of understanding how people use technology and how that influences their own behaviour. And a lot of my work within Horizon has been looking at how technologies out in the world are going to influence how people travel around in the future. So what we have here is the car simulator. Increasingly, information is provided us in the outside world through things like matrix signs. We're looking at what the influence of that might be on people's driving behaviour and also how it might lead to things like distraction. The idea of using a smartphone in a car to maybe look up information about your driving patterns. How much of that is a distraction to you? Can you still focus on the road ahead? Increasingly, cars can collect data about people and their driving, their behaviours, their braking patterns and so on. And how might that be used to feed back to the driver about ways to improve their own performance? But also how might that be passed out to sort of third parties such as the police and so on to inform them about maybe points on the road network where there's kind of regular near misses, that kind of thing. There's sort of an ethical angle to that as well about who sees this data. Maybe going to the police in an anonymised form, that's okay, but how would you feel about it if your insurance company knew about your driving patterns? So one of the projects we've been working on is what we call the socially connected journey. So how you can use travel such as car sharing, but also things like taxi sharing as well, and other types of travelling where people cooperate together to use travel and travel resources more efficiently. Travelling is a tremendous drain on the economy because so much of our time is spent in congestion where we might be doing something more worthwhile. It's one of the major sources of greenhouse gases and emissions. So finding more effective ways to travel around and also understanding whether we really need to travel so much. Are there actually alternatives to travelling in the first place? So these are important questions for Horizon to understand.
Joel and I have been working on a project called A Day in the Park. Theme park visitors love taking their own photos using their camera phones, and this is very much part of the day's entertainment. But they also love the classic ride photos that capture the high thrill moment for posterity, and these are the photos that you can't take with your own phone. We prototyped a mobile phone application that allows theme park visitors to create their own souvenirs using photos that they'd taken using their camera phones in the park, and also on-ride photography taken by the park systems in the park.
The new thing about this is that the sharing happens automatically. So every person in the group has instant access to each other's photographs. And then they can annotate these photographs with speech and thought bubbles to create comic-like pictures, a photo story that they can then take home as souvenirs. So these souvenirs then represent something that they've created themselves, but it is also something that they couldn't create without those professional photo systems in the park. So that makes it quite an interesting business opportunity, we believe, for companies that offer these kinds of services.
This research is about getting computers to recognise novel designs that allow customers to interact with businesses in new and interesting ways. For example, we have plates like these that are designed for restaurants where, because the computer can distinguish between the designs on the plates, we can create interactions that allow a loyal customer to put their plate in the middle of the table, have the vision recognition system know what they're eating, and text them information about it, like where in the world the recipe came from. So imagine this is a camera looking over a table in a restaurant. These are the movements of the designs on the plates. We can set the system up to respond in different ways as we recognise the location of the markers. The number of interactions is virtually limitless. You can call the waiter or ask for a bill or adjust the volume of the music playing in the restaurant, perhaps. The value of this research is that it enables us to deepen the relationship between the customers and the businesses. You can create a new level of engagement between a restaurant customer and the restaurant itself without making the ambience of the restaurant technological. It can be done in very subtle ways.
The digital economy is about doing things in the real world, so we have to understand the real world and understand technology together. That means we have to turn to psychology, sociology, economics, as well as computer science, maths and engineering.
We're here to try to understand what the future economy of the country should look like. This is a new and emerging area, and our aim is to take that groundbreaking research and now understand what it means to turn that into a commercial reality.